For 3 years, my house was silent in a way no parent should ever experience. You can get used to empty rooms and used chairs, quiet hallways, but you never get used to missing your child's voice. My daughter, Emily, left when she was 21. No fight, no goodbye, no explanation. One morning, her room was simply empty, drawers open, clothes gone, phone shut down, and a short message on the kitchen table. I need time. Please don't look for me. I looked for her anyway. I searched across states, called every old friend, contacted every shelter, every organization, but nothing. It was as if she had walked out of her life and erased every trace behind her. Eventually, people told me to move on. I pretended I had. But every night I kept a small lamp on in the hallway, just in case she ever came home late and didn't want to stumble in the dark. That tiny light stayed on for 1,000 nights. And then, on a random Thursday morning, as I walked outside to pick up the mail, I saw it, a white envelope with my name written in handwriting I would recognize anywhere. Her handwriting. My hand shook before I even touched it. The world around me seemed to quiet down. No wind, no birds, no traffic, just me and that envelope. I carried it inside like it was made of glass. I sat at the table, the same spot where she once left her last message. For a long time, I didn't open it. I just stared at the letters of my own name, traced gently across the envelope, like she had taken her time while writing it, like she cared, like she missed me. "Emily," I whispered, my voice cracking. "Baby, is this really you?" Finally, with a deep breath, I tore the envelope open. There were 3 pages inside, all handwritten. The first line felt like a punch to the chest. "Dad, I'm sorry for disappearing. I know I broke your heart. Here's the truth about why I left." My eyes filled. My hands trembled. I felt hope and fear rise together, 2 emotions that should never have to meet. I read the pages quickly, afraid the words might vanish. She explained that she left to protect me, that someone was watching her, that she was hiding with help from a friend. She promised she was safe, but couldn't return yet. And then, at the bottom of the last page, I saw something that froze my blood. The signature. It wasn't her name. It wasn't even her handwriting. Someone else had signed it. Someone pretending to be my daughter. Someone who knew exactly how to imitate her voice, but not her hand. A chill spread through my entire body, because in that moment, I understood one terrifying truth. This letter wasn't written to comfort me. It was written to manipulate me. Someone wanted me to believe a lie. And suddenly, after 3 silent years, my world was no longer quiet. It was shaking. I spread the pages across the table and stared at them like they might reveal their secrets if I looked long enough. At first glance, everything sounded like something Emily would say, gentle, apologetic, thoughtful. But the more I read, the more something felt off. My daughter never used certain phrases. She never signed anything without her little looping heart shape next to her name, a habit she had since middle school. And the tone, it felt rehearsed, too perfect, too deliberate. Someone wanted me to stop searching. Someone wanted me to relax. Someone wanted me to believe she was safe and away by choice, which meant she might not be. I began scanning every sentence like a detective. On the second page, I found something disturbing, a reference to a childhood memory that never happened. Emily never had a red bicycle, yet the letter mentioned her riding it through the old neighborhood. If the writer was trying to mimic her life, they were doing it sloppily. I felt my heartbeat slow down and sharpen. That is the only way I can describe it. I wasn't panicking anymore. I was focusing. My father instincts, dulled by years of grief, suddenly came alive. First step, check the envelope. I grabbed a magnifying glass left over from my old woodworking projects. There was no return address, but there was a faint pink smudge on one corner, lipstick. My daughter never used lipstick. She hated makeup. It made her feel unnatural, as she used to say. So who wore lipstick? I turned to the people in Emily's life. Childhood friends, former classmates, her college roommate, Lily, who graduated without her. Most of them hadn't heard from Emily either. Some assumed she was healing somewhere. Others whispered rumors about a controlling boyfriend she never introduced to us. That detail stuck with me. A boyfriend. She once mentioned a man named Nathan, an older co-worker who seemed protective. I didn't like the way she said it, but when I tried to ask more, she shut down the conversation. After she disappeared, his name became one of my main leads, until he vanished from social media and moved out of state shortly after. Now, I wondered if the timing was a coincidence or a clue I ignored. I found his old work address. The company had shut down. No phone number. No forwarding information. But I wasn't giving up. I took the letter to a friend of mine, a retired handwriting analyst from the police force. He studied the pages for almost 20 minutes, silent and serious. When he finally spoke, his voice was low. "This wasn't written by your daughter," he said. "This is a forgery. A good one emotionally, but sloppy in technique." I already knew, but hearing out loud made everything inside me tighten. "If you didn't write this," I whispered to the empty air, "then where are you, Emily? And who is pretending to be you?" The letter was not a message. It was a trailhead, and I was ready to follow it, no matter where it led. Forging handwriting isn't easy, unless you've seen enough of it closely. I kept asking myself, who would have access to Emily's notebooks, journals, school papers, or letters? The only person who ever saw those things besides us was her college roommate. So I reached out again to Lily, this time with a firmer tone. She sounded nervous on the phone, like she expected my call. When I asked if she recognized the handwriting, she hesitated just long enough for me to know she was lying. "Lily," I said slowly, "if you know something, now is the time to tell me. She's my daughter." Silence. A long inhale. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, "I didn't write it, but I know who did." My chest tightened. Nathan. There it was again. His name. That shadow that always lingered at the edge of her disappearance. "He came to our apartment once," she continued. "He said Emily told him to pick up some old things. I didn't trust him, but she wasn't answering my calls, so I thought maybe he was helping her. He took a box from her room, old journals, letters, photos, things someone could use to fake her handwriting." I felt the kitchen spin slightly. This wasn't a mystery anymore. This was a threat. "Why didn't you say anything before?" I asked. "Because..." Her voice cracked. "Because he scared me. And after Emily vanished, I thought maybe she left because of him. I didn't want him coming after me, too." Her fear was real. It vibrated through the speaker. And suddenly, everything clicked together too perfectly. Nathan had access to her past. Nathan disappeared at the exact same time she did. Nathan had a reason to keep me quiet by sending a fake letter. "Do you know where he is now?" I asked. "No one knows," she said. "But he had a sister, Hannah. They were close. Last I heard, she still lives in the city. A new name, a new direction." When I hung up, I sat down with the letter again, reading it not as a father longing for his daughter, but as a man analyzing the strategy of someone trying to mislead him. Every line now felt like an instruction. Stop searching. Stop asking questions. Stop looking in his direction, which meant the exact opposite was true. I had to look harder. I found Hannah's address within an hour. That evening, I drove to her apartment complex. It was small, unremarkable, quiet. I knocked on her door. A woman in her late 30s opened it. She had the same narrow eyes as her brother. "Yes," she said, arms crossed offensively. "I'm Emily's father," I said. Her expression flickered. "I don't know where she is," she said too quickly. I hadn't even asked yet. "I didn't come to accuse you," I replied softly. "I came because your brother might know something. And because someone sent me a forged letter pretending to be her." Her jaw clenched. Her gaze dropped. And then, without warning, she stepped aside and whispered, "You'd better come in." Everything inside me told me this was the moment the truth would finally start to unfold. Her apartment smelled faintly of lavender and old books. She motioned for me to sit on the couch, but she stayed standing, arms folded like she was shielding herself from the conversation. "I don't want trouble," she began. I'm not looking for trouble, I said. I'm looking for my daughter. Hannah sighed and rubbed her forehead. Nathan didn't want me involved. He said it was better if the family stayed out of it. Out of what? I asked. She hesitated. The pause was long, too long. Your daughter didn't just disappear, Hannah finally said. She was trying to get away. I felt a knife-cold sting in my chest. Get away from what? She sat down at last, her posture sinking. My brother. The room grew still. What did he do to her? I asked, my voice trembling not with fear, but anger I tried to hold back. He was obsessed, she said quietly. Protective in a way that felt wrong. Controlling. He talked about her constantly. He said she needed him, that he understood her better than anyone. But when she tried to pull away, he panicked. I felt my hands turn cold. You're telling me he wouldn't let her go? She nodded. She was planning to leave the state for a new job. He found out. They had a fight. She cried on my sofa for 2 hours. She told me she felt watched, followed, pressured. But she didn't want to involve you. She didn't want to break your heart with what was happening. My heart did break. Right there. Not because she was gone, but because she suffered alone. But what happened after? I whispered. That night, he showed up again. They went outside to talk. She told him to leave her alone. But Nathan, he doesn't handle rejection well. Especially not from someone he thinks he rescued. I felt my breath catch. Rescued from what? Hannah shook her head. His fantasy. He convinced himself she needed him. I wanted to stand, scream, hit something. But I stayed still, gripping the couch cushions until my fingers hurt. After that night, she continued, Emily vanished, and Nathan left town the next day. He told me not to ask questions, that she needed space. But I didn't believe him. Why didn't you go to the police? I asked. Because I was scared of him too, she whispered. And because I didn't have proof. The forged letter suddenly made sense. Nathan wanted me calm. He wanted me silent. He wanted me away from the truth. I leaned forward. Where is he now? She swallowed. He's living under a different name. He works at a warehouse outside Brookdale. A location. Finally, before leaving, I asked one last thing. Do you think Emily is alive? Hannah's eyes softened with unexpected pain. I think she was trying very hard to be, she said. And that was enough to ignite the fire inside me that I had been suppressing for years. I was no longer a grieving father. I was a man on a mission. Brookdale was the kind of town you never visit unless you're lost or hiding. The streets were quiet, the buildings worn down, and the warehouse district stretched like a forgotten skeleton at the edge of town. I parked across from the warehouse Hannah mentioned. Workers moved in and out, loading trucks. But one man, tall, lean, with a familiar posture, walked differently, his head down, shoulders tense, movements careful. Nathan. Even after all these years, I recognized him instantly. He looked older, harder, but his presence felt the same, danger wrapped in politeness. I watched him finish his shift. Then I followed him from a distance as he walked down a narrow side street. He stopped at a small rental house, unlocked the door, and went inside. My heart pounded. For 3 years, I had imagined this moment, meeting the man who might know where my daughter was, who might have been the reason she disappeared, who forged a letter to keep me away. I waited until the street emptied. Then I approached his door and knocked. A long silence. Then footsteps. The door cracked open, and his eyes widened when he saw me. Shock froze him for half a second before he forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Mr. Holloway, what a surprise. His voice made my stomach turn. Nathan, I said evenly, we need to talk. He opened the door wider, pretending confidence. But I saw the flicker in his gaze, the same flicker people have when they realize a lie is about to collapse. Come in, he said. His living room was messy, papers on the table, boxes stacked against the walls. A thick notebook lay open, filled with handwriting samples. And right there, in the middle of the mess, I saw the exact paper used in the letter to me. He noticed my eyes on it, and quickly moved a stack of magazines over it. Too late. I received a letter, I said. He nodded casually. Ah, good. She finally reached out. I stared directly at him. She didn't write it. His smile twitched. I don't know what you mean. You forged it, using her journals, her old letters. You wanted me to stop searching. He didn't answer. He didn't deny it. He just watched me with calculating eyes. And then he spoke in a voice without a drop of shame. You were getting too close. That's when the room felt colder, because his tone didn't sound guilty. It sounded annoyed, as if my search for my own daughter had inconvenienced him. She didn't leave because of you, I said, my voice shaking. She left because she was scared. Nathan tilted his head, almost amused. Fear can be misinterpreted. I stepped forward. Where is she? He sighed in a way that chilled my bones. You should have left it alone, Mr. Holloway. And in that moment, I realized he knew exactly where she was, or what happened to her. Nathan's eyes hardened as he realized I wasn't leaving his house until I got an answer. He motioned toward a chair, but I stayed standing. You don't understand the situation, he said calmly. Then explain it, I replied. He began pacing slowly, his fingers tapping together as if he was rehearsing his words. Emily was fragile, conflicted. She needed someone who could help her make decisions. She was too emotional to handle real life. My fist clenched. How dare you call her fragile? She was strong, smarter than you ever gave her credit for. His smile was thin. You're her father. You see what you want to see. No, I said, I see the truth. She tried to get away from you. Nathan's jaw tightened. He slipped, not with words, but with expression. His arrogance cracked for half a second. I never forced her to stay, he insisted. But she made bad choices. Dangerous ones. She trusted the wrong people. You mean she trusted you? I said. Something dark flickered in his eyes. She told you she was scared. I continued. She told Hannah she felt watched. Nathan took a deep breath. Let's put it this way. Emily was unpredictable. She could disappear for days without saying anything. She had secrets. She lied. She tried to run from her own mistakes. If she's gone now, he shrugged. Maybe she just didn't want to be found. My blood ran hot. You forged that letter, I said quietly. Because if I kept searching, someone might have found something connected to you. For the first time, his calm broke. Careful, he whispered. That single word told me more than anything he had said so far. I stepped closer. Where's my daughter? He backed up slightly, not from fear, but from calculation, like he was deciding whether to lie or tell half a truth. Then he made a mistake. He spoke. She left the night we argued, he said. She walked out. I followed her for a while, but she didn't want to talk. She got into a car. I assumed she was meeting someone else. What car? I demanded. He shrugged. A black sedan. New. Expensive. Someone she trusted, apparently. My heart pounded. Emily didn't know anyone with a sedan like that. She didn't trust anyone new. Her circle was small. You're lying, I said. Nathan smirked. Believe what you want. But then he added a detail he didn't realize was incriminating. She had a small blue backpack with her. I froze, because that backpack never left her closet. She hated it. She hadn't used it since she was 16. Nathan wasn't describing what she left with. He was describing what she went missing with. He had been with her that night. Clothes enough to see what she carried. Clothes enough to know things no one else knew. He noticed my reaction and smiled again, cold, smug, confident. You're imagining things, Mr. Holloway. You're emotional. No, I said, stepping forward, my voice iron. I'm finally seeing you clearly. Nathan exhaled sharply, as if bored. Then let me give you one last piece of advice. Stop digging. Stop asking. Stop trying to bring back someone who doesn't want to be found. He thought he was ending the conversation. Instead, he unlocked my path to the truth. Because now, I had something he didn't expect. A lie so specific, it had to be built on something real. And I was going to uncover that something even if the world tried to stop me. I left Nathan's house with one goal: retrace my daughter's last known steps. The blue backpack detail haunted me. He could have only known about it if he had seen her that night, after she left Hannah's apartment. That meant his black sedan story was a cover for something else. The next morning, I returned to the old neighborhood where she used to live. I walked the streets she walked, asked shop owners, neighbors, anyone who might remember seeing something 3 years ago. Most people couldn't recall anything. But one woman, an elderly neighbor who often sat by her window, said something that made my breath catch. "Oh, yes," she said. "I remember your daughter. That night she left, she wasn't alone. Who was she with?" I asked. "A tall young man," she replied. "He kept touching her arm." She looked uncomfortable. I almost called out to her. My stomach twisted. Was his name Nathan? The woman shut her eyes, focusing on memory. Could be. All I know is she kept looking over her shoulder, like she wanted someone to help her. That image broke me. My daughter standing on a quiet street, silently begging for help I never knew she needed. Then the woman added another detail. They stopped near the old bus stop. I heard them arguing. He grabbed her backpack. She tried pulling it back. My heart pounded. What happened next? "I looked away for a moment," she said. "And when I looked back, they were gone. Just gone." That was the last confirmed sighting of my daughter, arguing, being pulled towards somewhere she didn't want to go. I thanked her and walked away with my chest aching. I needed facts, not memories. So I went to the city transit office. With enough persistence, they checked archived camera footage from the bus stop area. The quality was grainy, but after 3 hours of reviewing old files, a technician froze the screen and pointed. "There," he said. "Someone walked by the camera at 9:14 p.m. It was blurry, but the shape was unmistakable. Emily, wearing her blue backpack, and behind her, half a step away, a tall man. Not just tall. Nathan." I leaned closer, hands trembling. The man in the footage reached for her arm. She flinched. She tried to walk faster. He followed. Then, on the next camera angle, the footage ended abruptly. There was no third camera, no continuation, just darkness. But that was enough. Enough to destroy every lie Nathan ever told. Enough to prove she hadn't left willingly. Enough to prove he had followed her. Enough to prove he forged that letter to cover his tracks. But the final blow came when the technician paused on one frame, Emily turning her head, her face frightened, eyes wide. "In this moment," he said quietly, "she was looking for help. She was looking for me." I walked out of that building with tears running down my face. But my determination had never been stronger. If the world had forgotten her, I would remind it. If Nathan had hidden her, I would expose him. If she was alive, I would bring her home. And if she wasn't, then the truth would speak for her. I returned to Nathan's house the next evening, not as a father begging for answers, but as a man who had already found them. He opened the door with forced calm. "Back again?" he asked. "Yes," I said, "because I know the truth now." He didn't reply, but a shadow crossed his eyes. "You were seen with her that night," I said, arguing, pulling her backpack. "You followed her to the bus stop. You were the last person with her before she disappeared." He folded his arms. "You're basing this on blurry footage and old memories?" "No," I said, "I'm basing it on your own lies." His jaw twitched. "You said she left in a black sedan." I continued. "There was no sedan. You said she took the blue backpack. She hadn't used that backpack in years. You described something only someone present that night could know." He opened his mouth to respond, but I kept going. "You forged a letter to stop me from searching. You knew if I kept digging, I would find the video. I would find the witnesses. I would find every detail you failed to erase. You underestimated me, Nathan." A long silence. Then he whispered, "What do you want?" "The truth." He turned away, pacing, rubbing his forehead as if trying to push back a confession. "She was upset," he finally said. "She wanted to leave. She wanted to be done with everything. I tried to talk to her. She ran. I followed. She ignored me. She stepped into the street. I raised a hand. Stop. He froze. You think I'm stupid enough to believe that? You've lied every step of the way. He stared at me, realizing he had no more believable stories left. Fine, he said. Believe whatever you want. I can't help you. You will help me, I said quietly, because I'm not alone anymore. I stepped aside, and 2 detectives from the missing persons unit walked in behind me. They had reviewed the footage, the witness statements, and the handwriting analysis. I wasn't the only one who saw the pattern. They approached Nathan calmly, professionally. Nathan Reed, one detective said, "We'd like you to come with us for questioning." He didn't fight. He didn't shout. He simply deflated, as if the weight he carried finally crushed him. When they escorted him out, he looked back at me. Not angry, not afraid, but defeated. "She cared about you," he muttered, "more than she ever cared about me." And then he was gone. For the first time in 3 years, the silence of my home felt different. Not empty, not hopeless, just waiting. The investigation is ongoing. They found items of hers in Nathan's storage unit. They found draft of the forged letter. They found messages he never sent. Messages begging her to return, apologizing, blaming her, blaming me, blaming the world. I don't know the full truth yet. I don't know if she's alive or not. But for the first time since she disappeared, I feel close to her again. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the same place where I found the forged letter, and I wrote a letter of my own. "Dear Emily, if you are still out there, I want you to know something. I never stopped looking for you. I never believed the lies. I never let the silence win. Wherever you are, whatever happened, you're not alone. This time, I'm coming to find you." I folded the letter and placed it beside the hallway lamp. The lamp I always left on for her. Only this time, it wasn't a light for guiding her home. It was a promise that I will never stop searching. Sometimes silence is not distance. Sometimes silence is danger. If someone you love pulls away, don't assume they're choosing loneliness. They may be trying to escape something they can't say out loud. Never ignore your instincts. Never accept easy explanations for someone disappearing. And never stop searching for the people you love, because truth has a way of rising, even after years of quiet.